Ladies and gentlemen, the world's smallest unboxing. Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we are taking a look through a zoomed in camera lens of Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs. Yes, you can see this is my hand. This game almost fits entirely underneath the palm of my hand. This is easily the smallest game I own, other than a deck of cards. So let's just get right into it here. So this is Gloomhaven, based on the fan-made variant Gloomholden, but it is, Gloomhaven in a tiny little box. Gloomholden was meant to simulate Gloomhaven. This one is its own story. You have been shrunken down, and you can see here that literally people are living amongst the the carpets and the buttons. Everybody's the size of bugs and so on and so forth. But everything is right here. There's even like room. There's like a little bit of room here. This is incredible. So we have Learn to Play. Now, from what I've heard, this is not nearly the most exhaustive rule book ever. If you are familiar with Gloomhaven, you should have no problem. But if this is your first iteration into Gloomhaven, you might want to track down some online resources of how to play Gloomhaven, or check out the Dized tutorial. They seem to be pushing that one. All right, we have a bunch of teeny tiny little miniatures here. Hopefully the camera will focus here. There is the Spellweaver, my personal favorite, my original love. That looks like the Tinkerer there. I mean, these are tiny. Looks like a Cragheart, the Mind Thief, the Bruiser, and the Scoundrel. So there is everybody. Yeah, teeny tiny little miniatures, but they are perfect size, and we will see why. We have some various cubes. These are going to represent, the colored ones are going to represent the enemies. So obviously, standees probably wasn't really an option. There's cards for all the enemies, and then on the actual board alongside the miniatures is going to be standees, and then the white ones are going to be trackers on. There's going to be some dual layered stuff in here. So we have various health trackers here, which are super thin. And then there we go. I guess the best way to turn them is to actually kind of get your finger in there, or get your finger in behind. So this is set up so that 10 through, I don't know what the highest number is here, 19 or maybe 20. Oh, look at that. There's a gap. I guess that would make sense. Okay, 18. 18 is as high as it goes. And then this is 1 through 9, I guess, on this side. So you can flip it over if you need to go up to the high numbers. But here you can see there is 1, 2, 3, 4 health dials for all the enemies. So at most, you're only ever going to have 4 enemies on the board at a time. And then there is 1 health dial for your hero. That's because this is a solo-only game of Gloomhaven. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense, seeing how big it is, but it's meant to just be played solo. And we have a single die that's got a couple of plus, minuses, and zeros on it. This is going to do a lot. This is going to determine, this is like your modifier deck. Also, the every single enemy, is their actions are going to be determined by this die too. So very important right there. I'm going to tip this up to, woo, everything came spilling out. So let's just take a look at this. So we do have a few punch outs. These are basically feel like normal sized status status tokens here. I thought for a little while they were going to do another die like this, but with you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only thing you could almost get all of the statuses on one, but then I guess you'd have to have 3 or 4 dice. Anyways, those are fine. And then we have, let's get a little organized here. So here are the various boards that are going to be used for your up to 4 different enemies. You're going to slot the card in here. These are dual layered, and then you'll place a white tracker after you've rolled this die here, here, and here, and this is going to line up, or you know, it's going to be listed on the card what a minus is, what a zero, what a circle is, and what a plus is, and that'll tell you what they're going to take. But obviously this is after you have, and also it's going to give you their initiative, so you'll know what their 3 possible initiatives are ahead of time, so you can almost know, all right, I'm guaranteed to go first if I play this high. This one that goes along with it is going to be the modifier deck, essentially, for the monsters. Now this is standard here, but you can slot a card. This is dual layered. You can slot cards in here to make this easier, so they're hitting more negative numbers, things like that. But you'll take a white tracker and you'll start it up here. You'll roll this die. Remember, I said this is very important, and that's going to be their modifier. So when it's up here, if they roll a negative, it's going to be -1 or 0 or +1. After you've rolled the die, you'll move the marker down. So you'll be able to tell when your chances of hitting a negative are and when your chances of them hitting a ×2 are. So a little bit more strategy, foresight, I guess you could say, in when you may want to cause them to re-roll or something like that. But I thought that was quite interesting. And then this is going to be the same for your character. Again, there's a spot here. This is your level 1. Then there's a spot for you to slot level 2 cards, level 3. So as you level up, these numbers here will improve, but you're still going to work your way down to the bottom. When you get to the bottom, you just move back up to the top. So these are really nice. You know, for the size of the game, the fact that these are dual layered is really sweet. Then we've got a bunch of cards. The rest of the game is essentially cards. So here we have all of our, well, not all of them. Let's see here. I don't want to give away all of the enemies, but here's just an example. You can see that this lines up with, I couldn't remember if it was vertical or horizontal, but this, when you slot the card in, let me do this a little better. There you go. So you can say when you roll the die, all right, they're a negative, so they're going at 30, and this is what they're doing. This gives you their health at the bottom that you would set dial to, and then there's some other stuff here, like shield and stuff like that, some other statistics. Then something else I want to show off. So here you can see here's a whole bunch of new modifier cards, and then I believe, yeah, here we have some of our, here's some bruiser cards here. So you'll notice that they have, I don't know if I can get into focus, there's an A side and a B side. So you only have like 4 cards, I think, going into your hand size is very small compared to what it normally is in Gloomhaven. But as you play a card, when you play a card, it's going to flip over onto the B side. After it's played on the B side, then it's going to go into your discard pile, and then when you rest, they can come back. But then certain cards have lost conditions. Let's see here if we see any. Okay, yeah, you know, typical lost condition symbol. So if you play this for its top action on the B side, that card is just gone. But really nice touch in how they do these. These are, you know, mini size cards. And then last but not least, we have a couple standard size cards here. And you know what? I was thinking that with the room that they provided us in the top of the box, we will easily be able to sleeve some of these probably. So, wonder if sleeving them, they will still fit in the slots. So here we have the Cragheart, the Bruiser. So they have changed a few of the characters. Obviously this was an Inox Brute in the original game, but he's essentially the same character. Spellweaver is going to be the same. And here you can see that where are some of the cards I am looking for here. No, these are all that style. Oh, maybe they're these big ones. That's right. Okay. So we have our, okay, so here is basically our scenario book. It's just a deck of cards. So let's look at these real quick. Cragheart, Bruiser, Spellweaver is the same, Tinker is the same, Mind Thief is the same, and then Silent Knife. They changed the Scoundrel. So they changed the Brute and the Scoundrel. But essentially this is your same starting set. Oh, I just realized that this one's kind of dinged up a little bit. That's sad. Probably will be okay. But we'll probably put a ticket for that anyways. Anyways, here is your scenario deck, and it's going to give you, say for example, here is scenario A. I'm only going to show you this one, but here you do all this stuff, and then you flip it over after you've read the intro, and here is the board that you're playing on. So this is where your second guard would start. Here's your first guard, and then this is all stuff that, you know, holes in the ground and weapons, damage, traps, all sorts of things. If you're the Cragheart, you can be throwing this stuff around. But this is it. You know, this is everything. But as you can see, your miniatures are perfectly proportioned there to fit into those little slots. Once you have then completed this, you have the option to either slot this underneath or slot it, I guess both of these would go underneath, slot or flip it over and take this. So both of these would become items that you then, you know, are slotting underneath your card here. So active items, just it's a really nice, clean system. I'm actually very excited to get into this, take it traveling with me, because it truly is such a small, it's like the size of 3 decks of cards, the box. If you took 3 decks of cards within the box and stacked them on top of each other, it's a little tall, but it's the height and width dimensions are no different than a deck of cards. So at some point these will be hitting retail, I'm sure. Again, I would not make this your first dive into Gloomhaven, but I mean, if you're savvy with board games, I think you could easily do it. If you're a Gloomhaven fan, I think you should definitely pick this up, because it's such a tight, perfect little package. The scenarios I hear are really quick. Again, it's solo only. Replayability, certainly, because you're supposed to pick one character and play through a campaign with the same character. So easily, if I play this game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I have definitely gotten my money's worth out of the game. So anyways, there will be a playthrough of some scenario here in the future. I am going to find it very hard not to go as my favorite character, the Spellweaver, first, but I hear the Bruiser is the easiest. I think on the actual, yes. So on the back side here, it gives you their level up ability cards, but then it also tells you their complexity. So Cragheart, Silent Knife, and Bruiser are low. Tinker and Spellweaver are high, and Mind Thief is medium. So it's all here in such a tiny little package. I love it. Anyways, that was the world's smallest unboxing. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.